By using the Falcon strategy, I walked away with insane amounts of profits. This week, I took a sell on AUDUSD, a buy on gold, and I'm still holding the US30, and the trade that everybody took. I took a sell on Nasdaq. This strategy has easily proven itself to uphold a 95% win rate. Now, the only goal by the end of this video, you will walk away with 5 key processes, the 5th one being the one I promised to never expose to anyone, my golden secret.
Who else in this family have you ever seen who sits in front of a laptop and makes money? So there's no reference.
This is Wall Street facts. The lower the price goes, the more valuable the demand. The first thing we're looking at is key levels. We're simply looking for our supply and our demand. This will be our demand. Like I said earlier, the lower the price goes, the more valuable the demand. As you can see, prices already touched our demand areas. Now that tells us there is a lot of demand, therefore price is most likely to go up. Now, with that being said, we also need to spot our supply zones. Now, our supply zones is our high areas of value. Our high areas of value will be our supply zone. Right? Now we have our supply, now we have our demand. I simply looked for the lowest areas of value and I looked for the high areas of value. That on its own has already told me which areas are more valuable currently. We have a lot of chart patterns available, but today I'm only going to be using the example of a channel descending. How are we going to spotting our descending channel? We're going to touch the highest levels in our supply and then take them to the lowest levels of our demand. Now I'm also going to be doing this for the lower resistance. Now we simply have a channel, right? Now this channel actually tells a lot about price, right? It tells how sellers are behaving and tells how buyers are behaving. We can then determine the strength using the descending channel. Hence, we're not going to be buying or selling until price breaks the channel. Now, like I said earlier, the lower price gets, the more valuable the demand zone gets. So currently we're looking only for buys. So even if price breaks below, we're not going to be taking any sells. So meaning we just want to see this resistance over here of this descending channel gets broken. Now with that happening, we have more than 2 confluences now, right? We have our demand zone over here, which has been successfully respected, and we have a lot of selling pressure, meaning there's a lot of bears in the market, right? A lot of people are selling in the charts and there's a lot of money betted on the sells. Hence price has been shooting down ever since it made the supply zone. Hence we're going to be waiting for price to actually break that confirmation for more sellers, and when that happens we have a new confirmation that buyers are starting to come in, not just because we're looking at the demand zone. Hence adding that on top makes our trade a high value trade. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be waiting for price to not just respect this demand zone, but for price to also break out of this descending channel. Because price can do a lot of things at this level over here. Price can come back over here, right? And sellers can also win to the downside. Hence, we don't want to find ourselves in that confusion. What we want is for price to actually break out of this descending channel. Now let's see what price decides to do. Price is moving sideways. Okay, price has now reached a dead touch on the descending channel. Let's see the behavior. Price simply now breaks above the descending channel. Now in Falcon, there's 2 types of entries. You have your risk entry, you have your open entry. We're going to be trading using the open entry because it's much safer and it's much more reliable, using all the confirmations I told you earlier. Let's jump into risk entry. Risk entry. Now with risk entry, when price got to our demand zone, we could have simply waited that bullish engulfing. Once we find confirmation, we simply enter the trade. But this is actually much risky, hence it's called the risk entry, right? But the benefit of taking a risk entry, not that I'm actually excluding it out, I also take risk entries. The benefit of taking risk entries is because you get a more profit ratio, meaning that in an open entry, right, same trade, you could actually go out in your profit targets with 1:2, 1:3, but with the risk entry, you can actually take the very same trade but gain more with a more ratio of like 1:5. Meaning that if you're risking your $100, you may actually get out with your $500, right? Now, I do not advise anyone to do any kind of criticism on any entries, because once you actually understand the execution, you will understand both entries have high potential and they have their own disadvantages and they have their own advantages, right? Me, as I prefer, I like taking the open entry, because when I take the open entry, I have more confluence, I have more data to work on, and it also allows me to actually practice my patience skills, because guys, I'm not very patient. But this open entry helps me understand myself more and be more patient in the charts and actually take open entries. Let's actually enter the trade using the open entry. Now this is going to be our stop loss. Now do you see how big the stop loss becomes? But don't worry, this is actually the 15-minute time frame, which actually makes a lot less. Now with that being said, we're just going to actually target these areas over here. Right, now that's our targets. We're going to be actually speaking on 2 targets later on. I just want you to understand right now, we're actually using the open entry. Like I said, we're using the open entry. Let's see how price first reacts to the entry. Let's see how price first reacts to the entry. Okay, good. Now our entry has been confirmed, as you can see over here. Like I told you, the importance of understanding channels in the Falcon. As you can see over here, look at how price has now been respecting the descending channel resistance as a new support level. Right, this is actually a resistance into support. Right, now price broke above, retested, and couldn't go inside back into that descending channel. Tried to push up and there was still more sellers. Price came back into that but still couldn't break back inside that descending channel. Hence I said to you, once you find your demand zone, once you find your supply zone, and you need to also jump into your patterns. When you jump into your patterns, they will protect you into finding the good setup, just like they did right for me right here, pushing price to the upside, being my new support level. Now you found your strategy, now you found your entry, you're in the charts, you're in profits. What's the next move? The next move is exit systems. Now with exit systems, here's what we're going to be doing. It's important you set your targets to the supply zone, right? Because that is where you will see most likely a high reaction of sellers and price may actually reject against you, right? Which is why in the Falcon we have something called the 90% rule. The 90% rule of the Falcon, right? 90% rule, right? So when price gets 90% of this descending channel, you simply run away with your profits. We will actually be betting against price breaking over here, but then now when you're doing that, it's also important to know how to actually manage your trades. Now if you're going to be betting for price to actually break above here, you want to make sure when price gets to that level, you don't want to allow price to come back and take you the loss. So what you do want to do is manage your risk first. So you will put your stop loss into break even. What that means in the trading world is you're not going to be losing anything, right? Now that's the power of the break even. Please note that this take profit over here does not exist, right guys? This take profit over here does not exist. We don't have any take profit set, right? But we do have in mind if price gets to that level, we will close the trade if we see any signs of price or small sellers coming in and price trying to come back and take us out. So with that being said, we already did the first risk management by making sure we don't lose anything if price does do that. But we also want to catch more momentum into this trade if it goes more into our direction. So here's what we're going to be doing. So price breaks into the supply zone, breaks above. You see, now this actually tells us we can't close the trade yet. Price is still continuing to the upside. There's enough momentum, there's more bars on the charts. So why close when trade is actually going good, right? You want to hold your wins and you want to close your losses. As simple as that. Hard to do, but sounds simple, but that's just the system, right? Now let's see how further price can go. Like I said guys, we don't have a take profit set. We don't have a take profit set. right? Now here's, I want you to look at me do it practically, right? Price will now continue to actually go up, right? Now here's what we're going to be doing next, right? Now we're going to be doing a simple breakout and retest. Now remember we spoke about how a supply zone, or in this case a resistance, can now turn into your support, can work against you. Now remember that that break even we made earlier, it's no longer going to be a break even now. Now it's going to be us trailing the profits, which means if price decides to actually turn back against us, we're going to be going out with profits, right? But how we're going to be doing that is not just taking the stop loss and putting it where we feel comfortable with the profits we're gonna go with. No, we're not going to be doing that. We're gonna be doing this systematically, right? So we're going to be putting our stop loss below the supply zone, right? Because we want price to actually retest on this supply zone and then go continue back up, which means we have a high chance of price not taking us out, right? But if it does take us out and come back down, we're still going out with profits. That's the system, guys. That's the system. Now, with that being said, price, let's see what price does. Remember, guys, we don't have a take profit area over here. Price just goes sideways. Goes sideways. There's no retest yet. Okay, price continues to shoot back up. Okay, now price let's actually go back down. Now price let's actually go back down. Great. Now, as you can see right here, price has swiftly been shooting up. Now, that just shows you the power of the exit system. Now, remember, right? I did not, by any means, give you a specific winning ratio. I did not say when using the Falcon strategy, use the 1:3. I did not say when using the Falcon strategy, use the 1:2. I did not say that. It's all up to you. It's all up to your risk appetite and how well you can manage trade. Now, here's the part that most of you guys have been waiting for. My golden secret, right? Now, I know most of you guys have been trading Falcon for years and you kind of understand all those systems and you most likely execute them very well. But some of you don't, right? Now, here is my golden secret. It's you. The golden secret is you. This reminds me of this Kung Fu Panda scenario where Paul shows Tai that there is no secret ingredient.
It's okay. I didn't get it the first time either.
What?
There is no secret ingredient.
The secret ingredient is nothing. It's you, right? Now, there's a lot of people going to be watching this video, learning this strategy, and most of them are not going to be actually understanding what actually goes on. And even those who actually do get what's going on, not all of them are going to get the same results. You are not going to get the same results as the same person who's watching this video. You're not going to get the same results as I am who's showing you this strategy. So, what's actually the golden secret? It's you. There is nobody else who's going to give you this magical trick of how to actually execute this very well. It all goes on to how you manage your emotions, right? How you protect your capital, risk management, underlying factor. Number one, if you don't do it correctly, even if I give you the hamster strategy out there, it won't work, right? So with all that being said, I just want to say to you guys, you are the secret to trading. There is no holy grail. There is no 100%. I even lied earlier. This strategy is not even 95%. It's way below that. It's about 60% at least if you actually execute this very well, right? And with all that being said, I just want to say to you guys, use this very wisely. Take care of it. Follow your rules, follow your system, follow your trading plan, and all that nonsense. I'm not here to actually lecture you. What I will appreciate from you guys right now is you taking this strategy very seriously and upgrading your level of knowledge. That will actually, the only thing that can actually help you get to the next level is that. So watch this video over here. It will take you to mind-blowing levels. Let's go.